So I'd like to introduce Em Connors. We've known each other for about 4 years or so from other businesses. And I can see in that time, Em has just absolutely flourished with your business. I think it's absolutely incredible. I look at your stuff every single day, and I think I'm a little bit better just from reading your stuff. So thank you.
You're welcome.
But firstly, I thought we'd just start by asking you a little bit about you. If you could tell us what your business is first.
Yeah, so I run a completely online business. I'm a course creator. So I target female solopreneurs looking to grow their online presence, and I help with branding, Canva, and content creation in general. So I run a couple live courses throughout the year, and then I just have smaller self-paced products as well.
And I've seen that you're in the fashion industry to start with, back in Manhattan, because I did do some digging on you.
Yes. Yeah. So I got my degree in fashion design, and I moved to New York City the next day after I graduated from college. And I got right into fashion PR or public relations, did that for 2 years. And then I got into apparel production. So I'm a very organized, timely person, but I'm also super creative. So it's sort of a unique set of skills. And the fashion design didn't quite, it was a little too creative, too late nights, all that kind of stuff. But the fashion production, getting the stuff made, being close to the product, the fabrics and the colors, it was enough for me. So I did that for 10 years in Manhattan. And then I moved and ended up starting a gym with my husband, which is how Lori and I know each other.
Firstly, I'd just like to say everyone needs you in their life by the sounds of it. So if I could just have you move across here to Australia to help me, being organized and creative, two fabulous qualities.
Yes.
And secondly, I think as soon as you said, you worked in fashion and lived in Manhattan. For us here in Australia, we've got those, if you're my age, that is, we've got these memories of Sex and the City.
Oh, yes.
And so it sounds like you were kind of living that lifestyle a little bit.
Or the Devil Wears Prada. Yeah. It's intense. Yeah.
Is that real? Is that reality though?
Yeah. Honestly, it can be pretty bad.
All right. So you had to obviously leave that corporate world and leave Manhattan, and you moved across the same state.
I just moved down. From New York down to Maryland.
Yeah. And so now you've got the new business, Creative Bodega. But what we're talking about primarily today is obviously along the lines, and you would have had some sort of self-doubt, or at some time even starting the Creative Bodega at the beginning when you're thinking, will anyone even follow me? Have I got enough qualifications or information to be able to share, to build my audience firstly, and then, create a successful business? So can you tell us about a time where you felt that and what you did to overcome it?
Yeah. So basically how my business started was I was a mentor, a marketing and business mentor for other gym owners, as I was a gym owner. And I just wasn't feeling 100% fulfilled. And the calls that I was having day in and day out, they took a lot out of me, my personality and who I am. It's like my little kids would get home and I'd have nothing left to give. I wanted to just lay down on the ground. So I was listening to a podcast from Amy Porterfield, who is a course creator. She has a course on how to make courses called Digital Course Academy. And she was like, stop trading time for money if you have no more time left. And I was like, oh my God, she's talking to me. Like her marketing was phenomenal. So like, she's literally talking to me. So I talked my husband into purchasing this course, which I had no business purchasing because we did not have the money. And I was going to make it about meal prepping because we had a gym and I was a nutrition coach, and it was safe and it made the most sense. And I literally got to the first step of making your course outline. And I just was like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. And he was like, well, my husband said, if you could make a course on anything, what would it be? And I was like, immediately Canva and Instagram, Canva and social media. Like when I'm talking to gym owners, when they want to talk about that, I light up, and everything else I don't really want to talk about, So he was like, then do it. And I was like, what? So overnight I came up with the business name and I decided what I was going to do. I started an Instagram account and I started an email list all at the same time. And, of course I started following all these other people who talk about Canva. And that was the first time I started feeling like there's no room for me. There's already so many people who do this. because it's all I'm seeing in my feed. So one of the first things I did to overcome it was to stop following all these people who do what I do, because it was clouding my thoughts. I was thinking I needed to be like them. It just was messing with everything. So that's one of the first things I tell people, like maybe one or two, follow a couple great ones who are very far ahead of you, but everyone else, get them out of your feed, because for me, it just makes me feel like there's no room for me. But the next thing was having to get on video, having to get on video day in and day out. I'm an introvert, believe it or not. I'm pretty shy, and it was incredibly difficult for me to get on video, but I knew it was necessary for me to get from where I was to where I wanted to be, which is where I am today. And I just said, what is the worst thing that could happen? Like, what's the worst thing? I've never had somebody comment on a video and say, like, you look terrible, or like, you're not good at this, or like, most people don't do things like that. So I just committed to doing one video a week. I said, what's the minimum I can do, and just commit to doing it. And the only thing that got me better and to gain more confidence was just putting in the reps with anything I was doing. Then I had to get on stories. I wasn't doing stories when I first started. And I was like, I got to get on stories. What can I do? Okay, one story a day minimum. And it can be about anything I want. Like, I have to be very comfortable with the subject. And again, putting in the reps is the only thing that got me comfortable and made me start thinking about other things I could share with people. So putting in the reps is the next major thing. But another thing that I think people don't realize, because I work with so many female solopreneurs, is even though there are so many other people that do what you do, nobody has the same set of like life experiences, teaching styles, and like character traits as you. So like what you bring to your product is going to be unlike anyone else just because of that, right? So there's so many people that teach Canva. I'm not the only person out there, but they're not me. They don't look like me. They don't sound like me. They don't teach like I do. And again, if I hadn't have initially put myself out there, if I never would have really maybe known that or figured that out. So something I like to tell my students really often is just like, let's think about like, what is the worst thing that could happen by making that post or taking that risk and building that course? Or like, if you really think about it, what's the worst that can happen? And honestly, it's not usually that bad when you think about it. But I would say those are the main things. And then a quote that I heard actually from Amy Porterfield was that you only needed to know 10% more than the average person in order to teach someone else about it, which sounded so crazy to me and so low. Like 10% is not that much. But, Lori, if you knew how to sail, like sail boats on I don't know about sailing. And if you knew 10% more, you could absolutely teach me about it. And I would listen to every single word you told me. So you don't actually have to know that much more in order to teach someone about it. And that sort of gave me the confidence. I knew 10% more. I was like, I know that from working with so many people one-on-one. I did so much one-on-one work that like by the time I was ready to make a course, like I knew what the themes were of what people needed help with. So I don't know. Those were the main things that sort of came into my mind when I talked to you about doing this is, not following a ton of people in your field that do the same thing, remembering that your unique set of skills, life experiences, teaching styles are going to set you apart from everybody else. And then just really trying to have an abundance mindset, that there is room at the table for everyone, including you.
I keep talking to everyone at the moment to say you need to start even myself actually, start blocking people out. I've got this little saying. I always say, follow your own star, because no one knows necessarily your particular destination and what you want out of life or your business, or what your purpose is. Only you know that. So people can derail you if they don't know what that is. So I'm a big believer of follow your own star and just be careful who influences you. So
correct. Here's
a question for you. So then when you originally did your first course, when you signed up to become a bit of a Canva guru with Amy's course, what made you decide to then monetize it and create your own course and teach other people how to use Canva and social media to get exposure?
Well, I picked something that I could teach in my sleep and that lit me up. Like I knew it forth and back and back and forth. And it made me really excited to talk about it. And I wanted to get out of my 9 to 5. I had a 3 and a 4-year-old, and I had, again, 7 45-minute long mentoring calls a day, 5 days a week. And my throat hurt and I was exhausted, and it was during COVID, and it was depressing and hard. And here, these people needed me to lift them up. But meanwhile, my gym is suffering. And, so it was all just too much at the time. And so I knew I wanted to monetize right away. I knew I wanted to sell this course. That was the plan all along. But I picked something that lit me up and that I knew 10% more than the average person about. And I priced it way too low. I mean, my first round, I got 45 people, which is a lot for a first course. And I priced it probably $300 less than it was just the last time I did it. So I just needed to do that. And everyone told me it's too low, it's too low. And I'm like, I need to do this the first round to gain that confidence, to see that people are going to sign up, to get the feedback from everybody. And then the next round, I'll figure it out and I'll increase my prices. But that was just something I had to do sort of for me.
I think Tegan, who's also on this call, was probably one of your first purchases. She's been following you, definitely. She's always sending stuff to us from you, which is in case we miss it, but you're in our feed every day as well.
That's awesome.
But what gave you the courage? Because there's a lot of people out there that they want to start courses and then monetize it as well. And so what made you feel like what you were going, like the product that you were delivering was something you could actually sell? Because I mean, one of the things that, when we set up a course, we're like, have I got enough modules? Am I giving them enough content or value? I think the word's value I'm looking for. So what made you decide or feel confident enough to sell, albeit too cheap at the time?
Yeah.
What made you or gave you the courage to just go, you know what, my product is good enough?
Yeah. I think that first I really love organizing information. So that first course outline, me mapping it all out, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, here's the assignment that I want them to do. And then I did course validation calls. So I literally got on the phone with 8 other female entrepreneurs that I knew used Canva. And I just said, what do you think about this? What do you think about the name? What do you think about the price? What do you think about the flow of what this course would look like? And honestly, their feedback like blew my mind, because they told me, they were struggling with things that I never would have thought of because I didn't struggle with it. You know what I mean? Here I'm thinking, I don't really need to talk about using templates, because God, they're there and they're so easy to customize. And everyone I talk to, I can't find templates that work for me. I don't know how to make them look good for my business. And I was like, what, you really? You don't? And then an entire week was born out of that, because it was consistent through all of them. So those course validation calls were a huge turning point for me. And again, they said I'd feel comfortable with this price. I'd feel comfortable with it lasting this long, So I tell people, if you're going to make a course, I recommend you don't hit the home run to start. It's you don't build a signature course to start with. I think you do a 2 to 4 week course that you can teach in your sleep. You're super confident about, you're excited about it, and then build from there. And that's what I did. I did my Canva course, and then that ended. And I'm like, people are still not posting. All my students are still not posting on social media. What's the problem? So I DM'd them. Well, hey, can we hop on a call? I just want to talk to you. Turns out they didn't know what to post about. They didn't have a batching system. They couldn't find the time. And I'm like, oh, well, I can literally teach you exactly how I batch all my stuff. So then my next course was born. And then I eventually just had the 2 get married. And now I have a signature course, but it took me 2 years to get to this point. But I am constantly talking to my people. I am constantly asking my followers, what do you think about this? I'm working on this. Hey, check out behind the scenes of this. I get them excited, I get them involved. And then by the time I'm ready to launch this product, they're ready. Like they're excited. They felt like they've been a part of it all along, and like they want a seat at the table. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, you've built up to 70,000 followers now as well. So you've obviously got, and we can see there's quite a lot of engagement, which is the key to creating that audience as well. Here's a question. What has there ever been a time where you've felt like giving up?
Never.
Yes,
I've never felt like giving up. I don't know if I just did things in the exact right order, but I've been, knock on wood, I've been incredibly lucky that anything I've sort of put out has been successful so far, which is like, I'm saying that and I'm so appreciative of it. Well, I mean, one thing I did there's two things I did that I like to tell people, again, I started my business. I came up with my business name, started an email list, and got on Instagram. I picked one social media platform that I liked the best and that I thought my people were on. And I only focused on that. I still only focus on Instagram. I'm about to start a YouTube, but again, I've been doing this for 2 years. And I just was like, I'm going to pick one platform and just learn it inside and out and be great at it. I started my email list immediately, and I did not offer something for them to purchase for 6 months. I didn't have anything. I just was like giving. Here's ideas, here's tips, here's tricks for free. So by the time 6 months passed and I had this product that came out, my first course, like, again, like they were ready and they were like, you haven't even been trying to sell anything to us. Like, I can't believe how much value you give. And it's like, if you wanted to go into my Instagram account and put all my videos together, you could probably piece together my whole course if you wanted to. I don't hold back, and I give 99% of what I know on social media. But I know that there are those people out there that want it packaged nicely from A to Z with me involved and with my feedback, and they're going to be willing to pay for it. So yeah, I mean, if I would do anything, it's like, I always tell people, give more than you ask. You want to be giving so much. You can't give too much free information, in my opinion. It just builds you up as an expert. And you're assuming everyone's going to even see what you post, which is likely not the case. So, if 50% gets in front of them, great. But yeah, give more than you ask, start that email list. I can't depend on Instagram alone to get me to where I want to be in my business. It's not my only strategy. And yeah, give more than you ask for sure.
What would you say to Em maybe 5 years ago when she was leaving fashion and branching out into running your own business? What's the advice that you would give that poor young lady?
Oh my God. And I did it then, and I just follow my instincts and follow my gut. My gut and my instincts have not led me astray so far. And I've taken so many chances in my life. I won't settle or be complacent. If something's not feeling right or good, I'm not doing it, or I'm doing everything I can to make a change. Like when I was in my 9 to 5 and just felt drained of life, I was like, I'm not willing to keep doing it. Like, there's got to be something else for me. Oh, so then I started listening to podcasts. I started walking my neighborhood and listening to podcasts. And then I heard Amy Porterfield, and that led me to signing up for her course. And that led me to building a course. And that led me to leaving my job because I was making enough money. Like, there's something I can't stand, is when people are unhappy with their current situations, but not willing to make the moves or, start trying to figure out how you can get out of it. So I would just tell people, follow your gut, follow your instincts, trust yourself, and believe in yourself.
We've got a comment here from Nicole. She said that she started to follow you within a few days, purchased your 3-day self-paced course. And she said what she loved about you was your open and honest personality on your Instagram videos. And it gave her knowledge, firstly, and the trust factor with you. So she's a massive advocate.
That's great. I recognize Nicole's name. I think she DM'd me today or yesterday. I know that name. That's awesome. And that's what people, when people sign up for any of my courses, and the very first thing I ask them to put in the comments, like, what made you invest in me? What made you buy from me? This is not for me so much. It is for all of you to see, like, what is the key, what are the key words you're seeing over and over that makes someone open their wallet and invest in you? And it's like authenticity, consistency, you know, giving a lot of value. Like, those are the things, and they're hard. Consistency is, I think, the hardest for people, which is why it was so important for me to build the course that I did, because I know without being consistent, I never would have gotten to where I am. And the authenticity is, yeah, my stories are my, like, if you follow my stories, those are my people. Like, that's my community. I'm constantly like interacting with them, and I love that part of Instagram. And I share more than just, you know, Canva. It's not like Canva. I'm like, hey, check out my outdoor fish pond. They had babies. Like, it was like, talk about the most, hey, my dog ate a sock and it's super annoying, and my kids are doing this. So it's not all, there's a nice balance between just like real life M and Canva M, which I think people really appreciate.
So how do you do it all? Because you're a mother of two beautiful young little cherubs there as well. You're a solopreneur. So, and you're talking about, you know, being consistent. So I see that you do post about family, and I know family time is extremely important to you, and you don't budge, and nor should you, because that's your priority, which I absolutely love. And, you know, we're constantly teaching people about time management. So, you know, you stick true to that. So I love it. So how do you manage it? How do you get personal with all your clients? And still run the family and, you know, a very, very huge successful business?
Yeah, well, like you said, I'm very regimented about, like, I work when my kids are at school. It's from, you know, 8:30 till 3:30. Those are my working hours, and I have a lot to get done. And batching my content is one of the biggest things that I do to save time. So I have a very I have a schedule for the week. On Monday, I post this. On Tuesday, it's this. On Wednesday, it's this. I have Canva templates all built out and ready to go and recolored that I can use. I will stick with one type of post and just make 4, 5, 6 of them in a row for the 4, 5, 6 Tuesdays in a row. And I use later.com to schedule them all out so that I don't have to be responsible for it. Because when I started this, I had a full-time job and I was on calls, and I couldn't just hope that I remembered to put a post out. I had to schedule it in advance. So I would batch on the weekends when my kids were watching shows. They had quiet time. I'd hop on my computer, batch, schedule. I had 15-minute breaks in between my mentoring calls. Sometimes I would have to post them then, or I'd hop in stories then. I just found these pockets of time, and I made it a priority. You know, it was a priority from day one. And so, and when something's not working, you know, when it wasn't working, or I wasn't doing what I wanted to, I would sit and say, okay, like, what's the biggest struggle here? Why am I not getting this done? Oh, well, it's because XYZ. Okay, how can we work around that? Who can I ask for help to help me with the kids? Or, you know, so again, complacency is just like not in my DNA. It's like, I will keep fighting to figure it out because it matters to me. So, yeah. And then when my kids get home, like, the laptop is away, the phone is away. I'm with them from 3:30 until they go to bed at 7:38. I might hop on if I'm in a course. I might have something to do after that, but for the most part, I don't sleep with my phone in my room. I don't aimlessly scroll Instagram when I'm laying in bed in the morning or at night. I treat it like a business. And that helps me not burn out, to be honest, and help me not waste time, which is precious.
That's very good discipline. I'm going to start throwing my phone in the office now.
I don't need it. It's in the kitchen. I say goodnight to it and I walk upstairs, and it's just freeing. Like, it's like, I don't need that. I'd rather read. I'd rather, you know, do some stretches in bed before I get up. I don't want to scroll. I'm not interested.
Yeah, that's the digital detox. I think is something we all kind of need at times, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, so any final words for you, or any last minute advice for these wonderful women out here thinking about starting something, or even going for promotion or something like that? What's the advice that you would give them?
Oh my gosh. I mean, really just to dig deep, ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? The ask is free if it's about a promotion. And if you're working towards something that lights you up, like my genre does, like it doesn't feel like work. And in the end, it'll be worth it when you get to where you want to be. So, I mean, truly, it's believing in yourself. I think that's like the biggest, and it's hard, but I just remind myself, if I don't believe in myself, how am I going to get other people to believe in me and buy into what I'm doing? Like, I know I have what it takes. I just have to, push through. So,
and I think the
I'd
key
say,
thing that you said earlier was being passionate about what you do.
yeah,
And of course, because you love this so much. I mean, we see that in all your posts and right now as
yes,
well, but that makes it easier, doesn't it? So if you've got a
so
passion
much
for something.
easier. And people pick up on that. I'm like, look at your social media and like, what do you come across? Look at it as an outsider. Are you smiling? Are you excited? Do you have high energy? Or do you look like a deer in headlights? Like, I probably looked like a deer in headlights when I first started, but again, I just kept showing up until I got more comfortable. So, yeah.
Well, we appreciate you coming on this afternoon for you, morning for us. So thank you so much for your time today. For those out there, Em has a Instagram page called The Creative Bodega and a website for that matter. There is heaps and heaps and heaps of free content on there. She's true to her word there. It's very valuable and it will certainly help you. And as you know, she will reach out to you. So if you do want to talk to her, send her a DM and ask her a question, and I'm sure she'll give you some feedback or connect with you.
You will. Thank you so much for having me. I just popped my Instagram into the chat, so you guys can find me
Wonderful.
there.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll
Thanks.
see you real soon, hopefully.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Sam.